A mysterious entity suggests using someone as a vessel when suddenly faced with vanishing. The scene shifts to an injured person receiving help, but reception is unavailable. The injured person wakes up, and a voice reveals it needs the body. Despite initial resistance, the voice claims the person is already dead and will die permanently without its help. The voice explains that while inhabiting the body, it grants enhanced durability. It urges hiding from an approaching threat. A mysterious figure appears, calling to vagrant souls and promising salvation through purification in a vessel prepared for them. The voice identifies this figure as the enemy and encourages fleeing. The voice reveals it has taken over the body, claiming the original owner is already dead and will perish if abandoned. Despite protests and the host mentioning a sister that needs help, the voice threatens to find another body. After a struggle for control, they reach a temporary agreement with the voice agreeing to help, while reminding the host their life remains in its hands. They encounter supernatural entities that attack them. The voice teaches the host to focus energy and fight. After defeating the threats, the host reveals needing to reach his sister, who is in a hospital. The voice notes how devastated the town of Shibuya has become. Inside the hospital, they encounter strange matter from another realm that grants power when absorbed. They discover entities gathering souls separated from bodies to drag them to the underworld. After successfully sneaking past some creatures, called the visitors, they sense danger. The host sees someone resembling Mary, his sister, but is warned not to trust his eyes. A mysterious figure appears and commends them for touching the other side while remaining alive. The mysterious figure claims to have completed their plan. When the host tries to protect Wari, the figure recognizes the voice as someone whose spirit they liberated, but still clings to mortal flesh. The entity claims to be Mari's salvation. A confrontation leaves the host mortally wounded, with only seconds to live in the real world. The voice offers a deal, the host's body in exchange for saving Mari. The host identifies himself as Akito Izuki, while the voice introduces itself as KK. Akito asks KK to help Mari. Akito wakes up later, surprised he's still conscious despite KK inhabiting his body. They realize they need to find where Mari was taken, but KK warns they must prepare before confronting her captor. Shibuya appears deserted, with KK explaining everyone is likely vanished and communication with the outside world has been cut. They head to Yugonzaka, encountering dangerous fog and hostile entities. After defeating enemies, they cleanse a gate and find Katashiro, paper dolls that can capture spirits affected by the fog. They discover people turned into spirits by the fog and use Katashiro to capture them. At a phone booth, KK demonstrates how to send these spirits outside the affected area. The masked figure appears, claiming only he holds the key to these souls' salvation. After a brief confrontation, they continue their mission to rescue spirits. They find a yokai, supernatural creature, and collect more Katashiro at a convenience store. KK leads them to a hidden safe house containing weapons and information. A map shows the barrier's extent, with KK estimating 50,000 to 100,000 people have vanished. They find KK's case files, supernatural food, and equipment for their mission. Suddenly, a supernatural barrier begins crushing the building. They destroy barrier stones to neutralize it, using a bow to hit distant targets. After escaping, they spot someone who might be responsible for the barrier, but lose track of them. KK suggests visiting a shrine to find useful tools. At a torii gate, they perform a cleansing ritual that lifts the fog in the area. They proceed to Kaguri, where they encounter the masked figure again. He calls out to vagrant souls, urging them to forsake their physical forms and gather to him, continuing his mysterious ritual. The protagonists discover talismans out of shrine that prove effective against enemies, leaving them completely helpless. They decide to head to the Kaguri observation deck to better understand their surroundings. The area was once a swamp before being filled in, with the shrine built to appease the water god, who might now be upset. Using tourist binoculars at the observation deck, they spot a suspicious figure they had previously lost. The figure heads underground, possibly to an operational base. They follow him through twisted paths, but eventually lose the trail again, encountering alien visitors and someone making cryptic statements about souls forsaking their corporeal shells. The pursuit leads them onto subway tracks beneath Shibuya, where they find mysterious substances. They discover a secret operation running underneath the city that has somehow remained undetected. They encounter a powerful entity that fights similarly to them, but proves challenging to defeat. After defeating the entity, they make a shocking discovery. It was created from KK's body. This traumatic revelation triggers flashbacks for Akito about his mother's death and his avoidance of facing painful memories. The confrontation results in KK being separated from Akito, leaving him without powers and uncertain how to find Mari. Akito returns to an apartment where he encounters a mysterious woman who reveals that his connection to KK still exists. She gives him something important to deliver to KK. Following this connection, Akito locates KK and rescues him. Recognizing they both need each other despite their differences, they discover a ritual has begun, creating a light from the northeast. They meet Ringo, who provides information about clearing the fog emanating from the Sengoku Center building. Their relationship appears tense, with KK expressing difficulty dealing with her, suggesting a complicated history. At the Sengoku Center, they find the entrance locked and decide to break in from an upper floor. They learn about their affinity for ether, which allows them to see things normal people cannot. They encounter resistance as they make their way through the building. They meet Ringo inside, who explains that a device is manipulating ether levels to spread fog and hide a Torai gate. They protect Ringo while she disables the device, revealing the source of the fog. Tension between KK and Ringo continues, with references to a previously botched operation. After clearing barriers, they seek a specially marked phone booth requiring a telephone card to contact someone named Ed. They eventually find the booth and place a call, receiving a recorded message indicating that only Dale and Ed escaped Shibuya as planned, with the initial belief that KK had died. A search begins for Erika, who is gone missing. While investigating, the team discovers someone dropped something at a parking lot by Jizo Street. They learn that Erika has her own reasons to fight. The masked enemy is actually her father. Rinko left a key and note in a locker at Shibuya Station, directing them to an apartment. At the apartment, they find evidence that someone was stocking up supplies. Through a psychic trail, they discover Rinko was searching for Erika but was captured. They encounter a mysterious woman who disappears and reappears, displaying supernatural abilities. KK arrives to help. A chaotic fight ensues as they try to rescue Rinko. After the battle, Rinko reveals she has gained new knowledge from her experience, including the source of the mysterious fog. She transmits this information directly to them, showing that spirits are being gathered in massive numbers. The scale of collected spirits is staggering, even for seasoned detectives. They discover the masked man's plan to use Mari as part of a ceremony. He aims to create a connection between worlds to bring back his dead wife, having already sacrificed his own daughter for the barrier. During a confrontation, KK is separated from the group. Meanwhile, someone reflects on their empty existence, feeling like a burden, always being protected. They decide to take action, rather than remaining passive. The team observes a disturbing ritual in progress. They resolve to work together as a team of 3 to stop it. They need to move forward through Torii gates to reach their goal. They discover Rinko's custom motorcycle that could get them through the fog, but it needs repairs. They require gas, a replacement turbine wheel, and special, fragrant underworld oil. Ed contacts them via a recorded message explaining they can find the oil where the underworld interferes with their world. The team searches the area for the necessary components. They locate a torii gate that appears different from others and find a gas can, but struggle with finding the proper turbine wheel. They're attacked by mysterious creatures, but manage to defeat them. The protagonist and their companion are seeking exotic vehicle parts for a special motorcycle. They learn about a car show happening under the Scramble Crossing that might have what they need. There's confusion about why Rinko, another character, thought they would already know about this event. Upon finding a turbine wheel from a car that reminds the companion of his son, a brief personal moment occurs. The protagonist notes that the companion rarely speaks about family, but the companion deflects, saying there's nothing worth mentioning. They agree to share personal details with each other someday. The pair contemplate philosophical questions about mortality while searching for something high up, possibly accessible from the highway. They discuss entering what they call the underworld, a dangerous place that will be difficult to escape from. When asked who they'd want to meet in the afterlife, the companion mentions his grandfather, while the protagonist starts to mention parents before being interrupted. They venture into a corrupted area searching for underworld oil as mentioned by Ed. They encounter opposition and must play along with some kind of game to progress. After a challenging journey, they successfully reach their destination and collect everything needed to repair their motorcycle. They return to their safe house where the protagonist offers to fix the motorcycle. Once repairs are complete, they prepare to charge into danger. A high-speed chase ensues with their vehicle barely holding together. Despite the risks, they're determined to rescue someone named Mari and not leave empty-handed. A character reveals this location is where they died, full of regret. Thanks to the protagonist and companion, they can now move on, unable to remain in this world any longer. Despite being a spirit, they struggle to believe in the afterlife, reasoning that if it were real, people would happily embrace death. They encourage the others to embrace life before departing. After Rinko moves on, having resolved what was keeping her bound to this world, the protagonist wonders if their companion will eventually disappear too. The companion admits this is likely. They discuss their antagonist, who is trying to bring back family members, treating bodies as mere vessels for souls. They engage in combat with someone, possibly a corrupted person being used by their enemy. The protagonist expresses horror at what they're witnessing. The companion commits to staying until they defeat their main adversary, who seems to be pursuing some terrible endgame. They prepare to enter a point of no return. A ritualistic chant speaks of gathering for salvation, joy, and freedom from fear of death. The protagonist hears Mari's voice, accusing them of selfishness and only worrying about themselves. The companion warns this is psychological manipulation from their enemy, trying to rattle them. The companion shares personal regrets about being an absent father who threw himself into work instead of spending time with family. Despite these failings, he's determined to protect his family. Meanwhile, the protagonist continues to be distressed by visions or sounds of Mari. They confront their enemy, who expounds a philosophy that physical bodies are merely shells and true liberation comes from freeing souls from corporeal forms. He plans to use collected souls to break the barrier between life and death, creating a paradise where his deceased wife and daughter will exist eternally. The antagonist suggests Mari might prefer being freed from her damaged body rather than returning to it, causing the protagonist to hesitate. He declares the world stands at the precipice of transformation. The companion urges the protagonist not to be rattled and to continue their fight. The companion points out the protagonist fears learning Mari might not want to be saved, but encourages confronting this truth directly. The protagonist agrees they must continue and ask Mari personally. They commit to moving forward together, facing whatever comes next. They journey into what they call the Abyss, a bleak realm where they experience a series of memories involving Mari and the protagonist. These memories reveal their shared childhood, showing glimpses of family dynamics, school experiences, and emotional distance between siblings. After experiencing these memories, they finally reach their destination, where both Mari and their enemy await. In the confrontation, their enemy initiates what he calls the opening of the gate to the underworld. When the protagonist finally reaches Mari, she thanks him for coming and indicates his desire to apologize is what kept her tethered to this world. The antagonist believes he has succeeded in connecting the realms of life and death, anticipating reunification with his family in eternal paradise. However, the protagonist and companion prepare to end his plans, declaring this is his end. A confrontation unfolds, with an entity speaking cryptically about merging being only the beginning. The entity questions interference repeatedly, declaring it was meant to be salvation, claiming ownership over everything. Despite these assertions, there's a realization that coexistence is possible, with references to learning to live together as partners. A desperate cry rings out about not wanting to die. Later, a discovery reveals souls were trapped, only separated from their bodies rather than permanently lost. This means most affected individuals should return to normal, with one notable exception mentioned, Mary. An emotional moment occurs with references to parents. Specific dates are mentioned, December 10th and June 9th, with an affirmation these dates were never forgotten. There's a profound realization about no longer pretending the pain doesn't exist, followed by a commitment to live authentically, even if it means acknowledging vulnerability. A farewell takes place with reassurance that a mother lived well. This parting appears to mark a significant transition or acceptance. The scene shifts to a conversation where someone is acknowledged for finally opening up to family, with mild teasing about learning to be quiet. A final request is made to convey a message to family members, a wife and son, that the speaker never gave up fighting. The request is accepted with a promise to deliver this message. The requester apologizes for the burden, explaining growing fatigue prevents delivering the message personally. Someone named KK warns Akito against future possessions, noting most wraiths lack charm. This suggests previous supernatural events involving possession. The exchange contains banter about KK being difficult to forget, with Akito suggesting KK should be grateful for this lasting impression. The exchange concludes with expressions of gratitude and a wish for KK to rest in peace, indicating KK's passing or departure from the physical realm. This final farewell carries emotional weight, marking the end of their connection in its current form.